Hey guys, Kurt from Time Machine Transport. So I got an issue here with my power inverter. It's cold outside today, so I'm working in the shop. I have this, so when we bought this truck, this Centec, which I've never heard of, came with the truck, this power inverter. And I thought it was a 6,000 watt. I mean, it's peak, but the 3,000 watt is continuous, which that's what you're really looking for. But so when you do this, I'm having problems because what's happening, I have it put on, and if you can listen, no, it's not going to do it. You guys hear that? It's like shorting out inside. This one too. Now, you can see this the power, the surge that it takes when I plug my fridge in. I think this is my fridge plug. See that go up? Now listen. See, she's getting it disconnected. I don't like that. That's dangerous. So what I did was I took the screws out. It's just a small little Phillips on this particular unit. I have another power inverter in another truck that we have. I'm thinking about pulling it out, but I remember I had this one on my, so I could see in its better days, a Cobra. But this one is 5,000 watts peak and 2,500 watts continuous. So it's a little bit under this one here. However, so when I pull, I'm going to put you on pause. I'm going to pull this off and I'll, so it seems like I thought at first it might have been the power inverter. However, this is interesting. So let me grab one of our chargers for battery. Now you can see that there's no power there. When I plug it into the first one, oh, it didn't do. I'm catching power on all of them. I just don't know, maybe because it's the draw from the refrigerator and the microwave. So what I'm going to do is, so when you guys, so I put in a lot of these over my time. What you use, you don't, so at first, a long time ago when I first started putting these in, I actually used regular jumper cable line, okay? But you don't ever want to use this, and I'll explain the reason why. If you can see down in there, see how thin that wire, see how it's corroded on the end right there? And then, so you don't want to use jumper cable line. You don't want to use that. And the obvious, well, it wasn't obvious to me at first, but the wire's so thin. And with the amount of power that's going through there from your battery, our batteries on this truck are right back here. So I'm not going to get into detail on how to install it, but when you do, all you do is take your power, your hot line, and go to the positive of your battery. And then this just goes to your negative, okay? And then ground the unit, okay? Which is just some regular basic electrical line that I have over here somewhere, like Romex right there. And so what I did was the very first couple times I did it, I noticed that my power inverter stopped working on my truck. So when I went and I looked at the unit, the wires were all corroded because they're so thin. They're like hair. So what I did on the next time, I did the same thing, put jumper cables in. I just cut off the springy part, right, the clamp. And then I redid it, and I ran into the same problem. So then I got smart finally, and I went to Home Depot, or you can go to Lowe's, Menards. Lars is Lowe's and Menards put together. I think somebody should come out with a store like that. Anyways, I went over to the electrical department, and you can buy this line per foot. It's expensive, but I use 4-gauge, like regular, like if you're doing like a high voltage, like when we did our compressor over there, we used the 4-gauge. When we did our welder line, we used the 4-gauge. So I was like, you know what? If it's got to work for the big stuff. It's got to work for a power inverter, right? So I went, and this was years ago when I put this one in, or installed. I mean, it wasn't hooked up when we got the truck, or actually it was, but I think the wires were all screwed up. Anyways, I use 4-gauge home electrical line, which is braided. It's not just one solid copper line. It's braided, so it has several small copper wires twisted together. And it's worked. It's never corroded. And then what I did was I hooked it right onto the battery with these battery connectors. And then what they are is, if this is just a heat shrink. So what you do is you just strip back the wire so your copper's bare and it's showing, all right? And then there's a clamp, so then you put this over the wire and you clamp it with like a vice grip, or you can use a hammer, whatever, and just crimp the ends, and then you just hook them on. What I did was I taped the positive side, so if you're ever throwing anything back in here and you accidentally short that out on there, it's not going to cause a spark or a fire. So tape off your positive end. So what I did was before I did this video, I went and pulled this panel off. Some of the screws have shooken loose out of it, or shaken loose, if that's, I don't know, shook loose. I don't know however you want to say it. So I'm going to pull these back off, and I'll show you the back of the plugs. I thought they were like just regular, and I know it sounds stupid, but I'm not a mechanic. I don't pretend to be one, but I thought maybe it was just like wires like on a regular house style outlet, but it's not. They're all soldered on. So I'm going to pull this cover off. I'm going to put you on pause. I'm going to show you. All right, this is the inside of it. So I thought maybe I could just replace the outlets. So I started troubleshooting. I noticed how it began was, at first all 4 plugs were working when I first put it in. Everything was working fine. And then one day I look up in my refrigerator, or my microwave, the clock is off, so I know that my refrigerator and my microwave are connected to the same power strip. And if you don't know what a power strip is, this is a power strip. So if I'm using the microwave, I can use them both together, which is cool. I mean, but just for safety reasons, or just so it's not popping a circuit, I unplug the refrigerator when I use my microwave. Anyways, and I have a large setup for microwave and a refrigerator. So anyways, all 4 worked at first, and then I noticed that my microwave clock was off. So I popped the bunk underneath the bunk, because this is in the bunk area, and I unplugged the plug and plugged it into another one, and it worked. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's a problem with the outlet or whatever. And then 2 of them went out. So I was like, oh, I still got 2 left. And I got power strips up in the truck, so I'm not worried about an outlet. And then the 3rd one went out. And then the 4th one started doing the same thing. Like I said, that you can hear that popping noise. That's not good. So I thought, okay, maybe it's just the outlets need to be replaced. So there must be either some sort of corrosion going on here. Let me see if I can get a light on that. Let's see, here we go. I'm not seeing any corrosion. So it could just be, and it's good that they're soldered. I mean, that's your best connection if you're doing wires anyways, is soldering, but I don't see any corrosion. So the outlets are probably just going bad on it. So I really like this inverter. However, I think I'm going to order some new plugs, and they're not going to come because it's Thanksgiving Day, or it's Thanksgiving week. So I'm probably not going to get them ahead of time. I might be able to go to the hardware store and get those, but I'll probably just look on Amazon. I know Amazon's a go-to. So I have an option of putting in this one, which was sitting on the shelf. I don't know, looks pretty worn. But I am going to put you all on pause. It's just a matter of just swapping out the positive and the negative. So, and then adding the ground. So it's got 3 plugs. I only need really 3 or 2 even. But here it looks like there's 2 wire outlets. I don't know why that would be. And I have a small one over there, but it's not gonna serve my purpose. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on pause, and then I'm gonna put this in. And it's like I said, it's just a matter of, let's shut this off. It's just a matter of pulling those 2 wires in the ground on the back, unbolting them. And then what I'll do is I'll just slide the ends into here if I can, or I'll attach a wire in there somehow. Anyways, I'm going to see if this one powers up. I'll probably just wipe it all down with some cleaner. I don't like shit looking like this. And like I said, I think that this one should be fine for what I need for it to pull. Like I said, I'm not operating really. I mean, my fridge is on all the time, except for at night. I unplug it because I sleep with a CPAP machine. I don't want my batteries to die. Let me go ahead and pull this in, put this in, and we'll see what happens. I'll put you on pause. Well, guys, this one must be fried. I don't know why it was on the shelf. It did not work, and I just went ahead and was able to bolt in the back. So I tried it on both the top and the bottom terminals, but I'm getting nothing here. Dog shit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this front piece off and then steal these plugs out of it and put them in that one. Put you guys on pause. I'll come back. All right, guys. Just 4 little Phillips screws that held that in. So those are the 3 outlets. They look like the same bandits. I don't see them being any different. Their color scheme is a little different, but I don't really see that being a problem. So what I'm going to do is, being that this one's shaking it, and it could just be a fuse for all I know. But why would I go through all that hassle? Maybe I could take it over to a small electronics guy or something if I needed a backup, which sometimes we need. So it just looks like they have 2 mains coming in, and then the other 3 are just fed off of each other. So it looks like there's a ground, a neutral, and a positive, or a hot neutral and a ground. So I'm going to clip these out, and I'm going to probably just clip these 2 out and swap them out, and then I think I'll just solder everything together. So I do have a torch and solder and stuff. So let me go ahead and put you back on pause. All right, so here's the first problem I'm going to have. So I cut the 3 wires. These are the main 3 that you're worried about, because everything else is soldered to each other, right? So, however, these plugs only come out through the front. These plugs only come out through the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cutting wheel, and I'm just going to cut these 3 out, because this is going to be a junk unit anyways. I'll probably just use it for parts like a fan or whatever. So I'm not worried about that. And then these, I'll find the 2. Well, actually, there's. Let's see. So you got the ground, and then we have a couple hots. So I don't know which ones are neutral or whatever, but I'll figure that out. So this one here, I'm not too worried about. I'm probably just going to end up just shit-canning this, and then I'll be able to cut these, because these outlets are all bad, and then I should be able to feed these back into the slots. So that's the one problem. So I'm probably going to end up just shit-canning this whole piece here and just having at it. So put you back on pause. All right, guys. Either way, I was going to have to cut them out. So, because even if I would have took my cutting wheel, which I was going to, and slice back the top, it's still, I would have had to still cut them in order to feed them through this side of the inverter. So it's a lot more work than I thought. However, it's not the worst case scenario. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these ones out next, pop them out, And I mean, the simple part about it is you just have two coming from the main, and then these two will feed right off of it. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think because this bottom outlet here, I believe, is good. So anyways, I'm going to just cut these out, and then I'm going to use these. I don't know if it's the solder. I mean, they all look like they're good. So I'm going to have to put a soldering iron on or a torch and get the solder off there if I'm going to re-solder them. So I'm going to put you back on pause. All right, guys, I got everything cut out, and I did have a soldering iron. So I tried to take my big torch and remove, what the hell, I'm going to put you on pause. Here it is. So I already got this one done, but I'm using that big torch. I have a small torch, but I'm out of butane, so I don't know. I'm going to try to use the soldering iron. I want to get all that solder off of there to get to where that hole is so that I can feed the wire back through there and re-solder it. So I'm going to film all these. So it looks like, so I'm going to have my ground coming off of the bottom. And then it's AC, so it shouldn't really matter. Alternating current, if you don't know what AC stands for. Shouldn't really matter as long as you have all the hots on one side and all the the neutrals on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you guys back on pause. I'm going to use the soldering iron. I'm going to try to clean these up because I needed to get like this, all the, not the old ones, just the new ones that I'm going to be putting this in. So, well, not the used ones, but the ones we pulled out of the Cobra. And so I don't have to do all these, so thank goodness. But I want to keep these for reference to see how I'm going to rewire it. So I have to run quite a few wires to each one of these. So, and I do have the wire. I got a whole bucket of wire right there, and I don't know what the hell I do with the other wire. But anyway, oh, right here. So I'm gonna, these are pretty close to color and thickness. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a bunch of those, and then I think I'm gonna do part 2. This is a little lengthy, so I'm gonna do part 1 and 2. So this is part 1 of the first video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Ciao.